This is Stan Fischler, and this is the Power Play Break, the place to talk about pucks.
Back here at Brick City Grill in Newark with Mark Howe. Mark, you're talking about your mom's influence, and she had a big influence for you for the 1972 Olympic hockey team for USA. Talk about how you were rehabbing your knee, and they were coming to town to play a game against your team. What did you want to get in that game for so bad?
Well, first, I guess to begin that year, it goes back to May of the year prior when we were playing junior. We were playing up in against Ottawa in the Ontario final, and I hurt my knee real bad. And at the time, it was diagnosed as being ligament damage, but it wasn't torn and it would heal. And so I missed a few games and played against Charlottetown, and then I got through the summer and rehabbed my knee. And then all of a sudden in September, the knee tweaked again really bad, swelled right up. So I went back in, then they discovered, and I was maybe 2 weeks away from signing with the Toronto Marlboros of the Ontario Hockey League. And once you went to Canada and you got your $10 a week expense money, you were pro.
You're pro,
you're done.
You're done.
So that happened just before I went in. The doctor said, okay, we're going to have to do knee surgery. And back then, I had a torn cartilage meniscus. And back then, you got the scar this long. Nowadays, you got the little scope. Yeah. And so they said you were going to be out anywhere from 2 to 3 months. So I said, no sense me going up to Toronto right now. I'll stay with the junior wing program. So I stayed and I rehabbed. And I looked at the schedule, and as a motivation, I was like 2.5 months down the road. The timing of it was we had like a week off, and then our first game was an exhibition game against the U.S. Olympic team. And I said, I just set my goals for I wanted to play that night. It would be fun to play. So I went out and played the game, and like I said, I hadn't played a game in 7 months or whatever. And I thought it was horrible, but I guess I impressed them enough where a week later they called back to Detroit. They talked to my mom, and they wanted me to come in and try out for a position. And I think my mom, trying to be a little protective, she said, I want Mark to have a guaranteed spot on the team, and if he's going to leave school and do all this. And they said no, and then so Mom talked to me about it, and I said, look, Mom, just give me the opportunity to go up and at least try out. So, which she did. So I went to Minnesota, spent 2 weeks, lived with Robbie Fichtoric.
I was going to say, he was the star of the team at that time.
Yeah, they were. And Henry Boucher was there, and but the 3 guys from Boston I lived with, and they kind of took me under their wing and played a couple exhibition games, and they told me I made the team. So then we went to Dallas, played a couple games there. We ended up going to Denver and to get used to the elevation. Then went over to Tokyo, spent like 10 days over there to get used to the time change. Went to Sapporo, spent 10 days there. We won a silver medal. I remember I landed in Chicago. My dad was at the airport in Chicago. We flew back to Detroit. Next morning I was in my car and I was back in high school.
That must have been at 16 years old. You know, in the 1984 Olympic team, you had Al Iafredi, Ed Olczyk, and Pat LaFontaine. They were all 17 years old on the team. That must have been for you at 16 an amazing experience. Most high schoolers are trying to figure out how am I going to date the girl. The guy said, "How am I going to date that girl next to me?" Have the courage to ask her out. You're playing an international competition.
I was the same way. So,
I mean, it must have been an amazing experience. I mean, it truly must have been. You're at the Olympics. I mean,
yeah, I guess I refer to it as like I was like a deer in headlights. So, but yeah, like I said, being 16 and everything just happened like boom, 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 and within a 3-month period, 2.5-month period, and now I'm back home going to school again. But just being right, and like in my Hall of Fame speech, I gave credit to Robbie Fichtoric because Robbie was 19 at the time. And Robbie kind of took me under his wing, and I remember, and I'd never seen the European teams play before. Robbie took me to games and stuff, and that's why I learned to really appreciate the Russian hockey players, the Swedish, the Czechs, the Finns, and it was such a learning experience for me. And I only had a small role. I was just a 16-year-old little buzzball. Like I said, I could skate. So my job was to run around the ice, create havoc, and I did the best, and then get the heck off the ice. So
were you intimidated at all? I mean, playing against the Russians, playing against the Swedish teams. Was there any intimidation, or were you just, I'm 16, I know nothing else except I'm just going out to play hockey, or?
Murray was very clear what he wanted me to do, how he wanted me to play, and I just wanted to try to play my best. And the way I always approached the game was, like I said, I always had to make sure I was ready to play. I don't really care what the other people had to offer. It's just I can only control what I can do. And actually, as you get older, when you learn the other people better, then it makes what you do more efficient.
Yeah.
And but no, at the time it was like I said, everything happened so 15, especially being 16, and being the guy that you walk by but I really appreciated it, and I'd never been overseas. Here I was in Japan, and the odd time I'd hop on the commuter train. It's not like today where security has to be so tight.
It's all tight, yeah.
And I'd run downtown, and there'd be these girls about this high. Well, they're looking at me, and they're going, "How old are you?" I said, "I'm 16," and they were 25. And I go, "Wow, you're 25, you're so tiny. You look like you're 12 years old." But what I found was the people in Japan were so nice, so friendly everywhere I went, and it was so I got a chance to explore a little bit too and learn a little bit about the culture.
What did you take away from winning that silver medal? That was like your first big thing to win in your career. I mean, was it a special moment? You say to yourself, "Wow, I won a silver medal." How many guys can lay claim to the fact they even medaled in an Olympic sport?
I think it was the first time I heard the Russian national anthem, because they won the gold, and I learned that I hated it. It was too long, which all the other guys had told me, as soon as it plays, you'll hate it right away. So you learn to hate that. The thing that I appreciated by far the most was when during this medal presentation, you look up, you see the United States flag. That's when it hit home for me. And because you're proud to be American, you're proud to represent your country, and the silver medal is the byproduct of that. And it's like I said, I appreciate any award you receive, but the greatest achievement comes from knowing that you were a part of a team you played well as a team.
What was Robbie like for you? You roomed with him. You said he had a big influence on you. I mean, he seems like a real good guy. I mean, he just seems, when you see him out there, he always seems to help everybody along, just not himself, but he's looking out for everybody on the team. That kind of a guy he is?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he was with me without a doubt. So I remember the Russians were playing the Czechs, and it was right after 4 years after the invasion of '68 when the Russians went into Czechoslovakia, which I really didn't even know about. Rob said, "Oh, you're going to love this hockey game. It's going to be fantastic." And in the first time I went to town, Rob said, "I'm going to town. Come on, go with me." And then when I was with him in Minnesota, it's just he was always like Dick McGlynn was really good, Stu Irving, the other two guys from Boston. But Robbie, really, and like I said, he was 3 years old, but Robbie really looked after me.
We'll have more with Mark right after this.